Alterations. We're pricing a new 5-bedroom house. We won't require the alterations section, but we will take a look at how it can be used. We may need to use the alterations section when pricing an extension. We could allow for any works in the existing house, but in particular, we can allow for the breaking through from the new extension to the existing building. The first item is polythene, so if we need to put up a screen or cover any floors, furniture, walls and so on, we can allow for the polythene here. We just select the appropriate material in the drop-down and enter the quantity of rolls required in the blue box. We'll put in 1. We're then provided with a further 2 blue boxes. We can allow for any plant costs associated with the polythene. We also need to enter the number of hours this task will take. We'll leave the plant box empty and enter 1 hour. By default, a labourer is going to be carrying out the tasks associated with the polythene, but we can adjust the trade in this drop-down menu. OK, next we can allow for any openings in the walls. Let's click the question mark. By default, 6 hours are allowed for the creation of a single opening, but we can change this if we want. We can also view further information by clicking this blue question mark. We'll put in 2 new openings. We'll notice that several things happen. We're provided with further blue boxes, and other items further down are worked out for us. We'll get to those other items in a moment. First, let's look at this new opening line. OK, so we've got a blue box where we can allow for the costs of any other plant. We'll put £33 in here. We can also allow for the costs of any materials that we may need for this. We'll put in £55. The hours and labour costs are here. These are based on the default of 6 hours being allowed per opening. They're also calculated based on a labourer carrying out this work. We can change the tradesperson in the drop-down menu if we want. We do have another line for new opening and wall. If we need to do a further opening or openings that are a different size and have different requirements, we can enter them in here. Battens for our temporary screen are automatically worked out for us. We can click on the question mark and view how the programme is working this out. We can adjust all of these default measurements if we want. We also have a handy checkbox, so we can allow for a temporary screen on just one side. See, the amount of battens instantly decreases. Or we can have it checked like this for both. The material for our battens can be changed here in the drop-down menu. If battens aren't required, just switch this option off by clicking this box. If a wall or walls need to be removed, just enter the quantity into this blue box. We'll put in 1, then complete the blue boxes. So enter any plant and material costs associated with the removal of the wall and the number of hours that will need to be allowed. The labour costs will be calculated based on the number of hours and the tradesperson selected. Exactly the same process can be carried out for the removal of any ceilings. So enter the quantity, the plant, material costs, and any hours associated with the ceiling removal. If a fume extractor fan is needed during the removal of the walls, then we just enter the number of days we'll require it. We'll enter 2. All of the costs are worked out. We'll remember that when we entered the opening and wall, several items automatically calculated. The first of these was the cutter. We can view how this was worked out by clicking on the question mark. We can also adjust the type of cutter in the drop-down. Discs for our cutter are here. Again, we can see how they're being calculated. Next, we've got the acro props. Let's click the question mark. By default, the programme is allowing for 2 acro props per opening. We can change this if we want. The blue text tells us that the hours associated with these acro props are being allowed in the opening of the wall. The disposal of debris from the removal of ceilings and walls and breaking through can be accounted for here. We can click to select the most appropriate method for the waste disposal. We'll enter an 8-yard skip for this. If an excavator is needed, allow for it here. We'll put in 1 day. The alterations section does give us the option to add additional items or tasks if something we need to do during the alterations isn't listed. We just click the extra row button located here and follow the straightforward instructions. The totals for the materials, plant, hours and labour are here, and we can see the overall total. As mentioned at the start, we're not doing any alterations on the job that we're pricing, so we will remove this information from our quote and switch this section off.